Today's episode is brought to you by applaudable.net.
That's how you build a relationship with someone, by adding value. Now, value is something that's just not talked about anymore. So if you're sitting with a product and a company and you're not thinking about what value you really provide, then I have to question what you're doing.
I want to talk about a number of things with you. In fact, looking at your websites, there's so many things that we could, and angles and approaches we could take.
I think what's really important, just to get the conversation started, is it doesn't really matter where you are. What matters is what you're willing to accept. So if you have a high level of non-acceptance, you're somebody who's really headed in the right direction. If you're saying, I'm good, which a lot of us fall into that trap, we kind of accomplish some of our goals. We do a little better even than we thought. Those are people that are in a really dangerous place. You have to have a high level of non-acceptance, and only until you do. Because high levels of non-acceptance will lead you to dream big, lead you to commitment, and then when you're committed, you start thinking about all the things you could do to force the issue of you not accepting what you got. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you get passionate about it. So, my mom was my biggest mentor, and her favorite line was, you got to have balls and be passionate, be fearless. Don't stop. Don't stop at success. The only people that make it and are remembered, those two together, are extraordinary people. And to be extraordinary, you got to blow past success. So don't get too caught up in yourself. Mm-hmm. And I went to go see her, and I said, Mom, I'm thinking about changing careers. And she's like, you're 12. What? I said, well, I've been working already for 3 years. And I want to have more time after school and on the weekends. So she sent me to get a paper route. And in Brooklyn, in New York City, the paper route in the 70s was very popular. That's what most people got the paper. And I would go around, and I opened up a route with 29 dailies and 34 Sundays. And there was a contest. Whoever opens up the most accounts wins a box of candy bars. Great. Knocking on doors in Brooklyn, a lot of apartment buildings. I think this is going to be a gold rush for me. I'm winning multiple boxes. After a week of knocking on doors, I got zero. Nothing. And I am irate, pissed, bummed. And as I'm walking home, I go in this one building, and I'm knocking on doors, nothing. I knock on this woman. She's well in her 70s. I said, man, would you like to get the paper delivered? I see you have a stack of the Daily News in your house. She says, no, I get it from the corner store. I'm good. I said, yeah, but it's the same price for me as the corner store. He says, yeah, but then I got to tip you. So I go home. I tell my mother, we got to move out of this neighborhood. The excuses. The people are cheap. This is a bad neighborhood. There are a lot of lousy, really rotten people that live here. And my mother said, sit down, and sit down now. You have to realize you got to stop selling and start serving, solving. People want, if you're going to sell the same thing that other people sell, you got to differentiate yourself, and you got to actually give them something that's going to be unique that can help them. And I was trying to wrap my arms around that, so I'm knocking on more doors, and literally another 3 days go by, nothing. It's 10 at night. I go back and knock on the older woman's door, figure maybe I could change her mind. She thinks there's a fire in the building. She's like, what do you want? It's 10 o'clock at night. I said, man, just give me a minute. If there's torrential downpour, blizzard, heat wave, snowstorm, it's pouring rain. If I bring you milk and bagels on Wednesday and Sunday, hot bagels on Sunday morning, and if you need something else, I'll bring it to you. You would do that for me? I said, I was concerned. A woman of your age, when there's really adverse conditions out there, you shouldn't be out with that kind of situation. And I'll help you get your necessary needs. That's so sweet. Now, she did sign up for the paper. What I didn't realize is that she was going to be the mother load. And I went from 29 dailies to 199 dailies and 234 Sundays. She turned me on to everyone in the neighborhood. I was delivering more milk and bagels you can't imagine in a shopping cart. Forget the bicycle. But I want the people listening, and really how this story really relates to them is that, are you really listening to your customers and selling them what they need, and really listening to them the way they need the item you have and how it needs to be presented and sold to them? Are you solving a problem? Because solution selling is the road to success. Like, you need to be a solution-based salesperson, even when you're solving a problem for somebody that doesn't help you on the bottom line. If you're not looking at your customer, worrying about his problems or her problems, and figuring out how to solve them, whether they're doing a charity fundraiser, whether they're trying to get their kid into a private school, or their kid has a special need, or something that one needs to do for their spouse. Whatever you can do to serve somebody, that's how you build a relationship with someone, by adding value. Now, value is something that's just not talked about anymore. So if you're sitting with a product and a company and you're not thinking about what value you really provide, then I have to question what you're doing. And value is what you could do for someone that they can't do for themselves. And if you're providing value, not only in business, but in all your relationships, nobody's getting rid of you. As a matter of fact, they're going to keep ordering up and they're going to keep you around. So be someone who provides value, be a solution-based salesperson, be a solution-based company, and not just a bottom line, got to make a sales number company, because that's the road to just success, which often could just be mediocre, not really reaching your best self. And that's kind of how I think of everything in the what else. It's the what else, yeah, but it's also the level of non-acceptance is so critical. Like, I can't emphasize it enough. And at that age, I wasn't willing to accept working every day after school. I wasn't willing to accept not having clothes and food, which is what started me to work to begin with. And sometimes the non-acceptance comes from a money grab. It's not always for the good of everything. Sometimes you just want a bigger house because you have kids and you want to have a family that has its own house. And I'm not going to accept this small little flat. But ultimately, you want to have a combination of the money grab, and then obviously the common good is critical. So doing things for the common good, doing things to help your company, to your teammates, to your customers. That sometimes doesn't always help yourself, but the common good. When you play that game along with non-acceptance, oh boy, you're on the right track.
You sort of have hinted at in some of your speeches and things, because you're a renowned keynote speaker, is that you talk about the underdog mindset. What of the underdog mindset? Why is that mindset a good mindset and a good approach, do you think?
Well, first, I'm hoping to come to Australia to do a keynote. Just the only way I can talk my wife into making the big haul over there. So I'm hoping that's the goal of mine, that somebody hires me to bring me there. But let's backtrack for a minute here.
Sure.
Why are we here? I mean, seriously. I mean, there are thousands of species on this planet. Thousands. Bugs, tigers, elephants, ants, dogs, cats. Not one of those species can get better. Not one, except for one species, the human species. You're never going to wake up, go downstairs, your dog would have fed itself, walked itself, is reading the newspaper in the corner. You're never going to look at the fish tank and your goldfish would be doing backflips, breaststrokes. We're the only species that can improve and get better. So if you're not doing something along the lines of understanding that we're here for a reason, which is to help others and to make this place better and for you to figure out how to improve. That's why we're here. That's the whole benefit of being a human being. In order to do that, in order to have the right mindset of non-acceptance, back to that, but also you have to acquire an underdog mindset. Now, in your soul, you always want to have the favorite. In your soul, we are all deserving, good individuals that are loving, caring. We all deserve to have those same needs met. But in your mindset, you always want to have a hostile mindset, an underdog mindset. Why? Why would you want to be the favorite? The underdog has nothing to lose. No one expects you to win. They don't think you could do it. They don't think you can go get to another level in your salary. They don't think you can get the corner office. They don't think you can go to the better college. They don't think you can be a starter on the team. And that's what's going on in your voice and your head. And you're combining it with your soul, which says, if not you, then who? If not me, why not? Why not me? Why can't I do this? And you're having this kind of battle with these two voices. But ultimately, the mindset always needs to be the underdog, because you have nothing to lose. And that's the inspiration, what I call the game within the game. If you get on the court and you're playing this, you can't play the score. You got to always play the game. And there can never be a shot clock in your game. Your goal is to do your best, play your best, sell your best. And you're competing against yourself. And the only way to compete against yourself is to question whether you can actually go to another level and push yourself to that level. If you need somebody else to do it, that's when you incorporate the hostile environment. Now, I'm a happy guy. I'm just not a satisfied guy. But I have the hostile mindset along with my underdog, which says, I remember the guidance counselor that told me I couldn't go to college. I remember the girl that dumped me and said I was going to be no good, rotten bum. I remember the kid that in Hebrew school said to me that I was just a rotten street bum because I didn't have really nice clothes and I wasn't dressed appropriately and I couldn't afford them. I remember all the people that doubted me. And I'm going to prove wrong. Yeah. And I keep that mindset to make sure that I'm a little hostile, because at the end of the day, the only time we've ever grown, if you think about it, is when we put pressure. I have like employees that come to me, I'm overwhelmed. I'm really feeling a lot of pressure. I'm like, good. Because that's only the first and foremost time you can actually improve. Nobody ever got better saying, everything's great, feeling really good. Like, when did you improve and get better there? When you know what I mean? Like, and the other thing is, you have to put immense pressure on yourself if you want to have immense results. Not all of them are going to be good, but you got to push yourself to that you have that kind of pressure on yourself, but also realize that life is difficult, and don't let that pressure be something that's going to overwhelm you. So I'm sitting at a baseball game, and the most important thing is that you can't differentiate one day to the next. You can't say, well, this is a big meeting. This is a big podcast I'm doing with you. What does it say about all the other podcasts that I do? I give you the same attention in this conversation if I was speaking to an audience of 10,000. I don't differentiate. And I think the problem is that most people, when they get into a big situation, they get themselves all amped up. But if they were in every situation, they're all amped up. You can never tell in my office if I'm making a $5 sale or $5 million sale. And I was at a ball game, and Mariano Rivera is a very well-known pitcher. And he pitches the end of the games. He's known as a closer. And what's amazing is that he comes and sits down next to me in the middle of the game. I said, well, it's just a spring training exhibition game. What's the big deal? He goes, big deal. Did you not just watch? I just pitched that last inning. 1, 2, 3. Knocked them all out. I said, yeah, it's just exhibition. He goes, no. When I get on the mound and pitch an exhibition game, it's the same as if I pitch a World Series game, playoff game, bottom of the ninth. It doesn't matter. I never differentiate. This way, when something big comes up, I'm just doing what I normally do. And I think that's a mistake. People prejudge the situation, and then their level of commitment, their level of acceptance varies. To me, everything's a big deal. Everything gets my all. Or I sit home and take the day off. Mm-hmm. So if you're one of these people who say, well, I got a big meeting today. Huh? So the other meetings were meaningless? How many times have you gone on a meeting that you thought maybe wasn't that big a deal, and then 5 years later it ends up being a really big deal? You walk into a meeting, you see that same person now at a different company, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, we met 5 years ago. What impression are you leaving? Has to be a great one every time, whether it's with the mailman, whether it's somebody walking down the street. You want them to know that you're a professional. You don't want to go get surgery, and the doctor says, well, this wasn't a big surgery for me. You don't want to be in a courtroom with your lawyer on a life or death situation. Well, this is really not a big case for me. I've had bigger. And that's the difference between being an ultimate professional and being somebody who's on the road to extraordinary, which is really what my big thing about the what else is. The road to extraordinary is pushing yourself and really making sure you know, consistency over time equals credibility. Everybody can have a good day. Everybody can have a good week, even sometimes a good year. But when you can do it over a long period of time, those are the people that people remember. And those are the people that you come back to, and that's the business you want to get. I love when I get a call, Brandon, you know, I knew you 10 years ago. We did this thing, and I've been dying to quit. I got something for you. You remember me 10 years ago? I mean, how many people do you remember you met 10 years ago, right? So imagine, you know, as you get older, if you want to get to an extraordinary level, all those people, all the grains of sand is what equals the beach. Mm-hmm. So you got to take everybody seriously. You got to have an underdog mindset. Your soul needs to always have the confidence that you are the best. You can be the best. You deserve to be the best. You deserve anything and everything that any other human being has. Not to ever short yourself. Never to play small. Your mindset says different. Oh, I don't know. That teacher said you were really just not that smart. You know, a couple of your friends thought you were a bunch of bumbling idiot. And you keep working those two voices in your head to do the best you can be.
Thanks for joining us for a basketball conversation. Feel free to start a conversation of your own with other OzSwoosh superfans by commenting below. And I look forward to sharing our next conversation with you soon. I hope you'll join us again sometime. Catch you later.